Hello, everyone. My name is Rex45 from the Be Forever Cool podcast. I won't say I'm jet lagged, but definitely been doing a lot of driving since coming back from VIR. So bear with me. We're gonna have some fun tonight. I do have the crew get everything set up. It's like I am Jamaican, but it feels like I have a lot of jobs, and I'm carrying everything, setting up everything, being the sound engineer for everything. And as you can see now, my camera wants to take over control of the show, but we're not going to let that happen. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about some track stuff, club racing stuff. So definitely stick around till the end of the show and find out if and find out what's going on with the track stuff. If you're interested in getting into track racing, if you've been doing some track days and you're in the fast group and you're looking to kind of move on or question whether you should move on, stick around in the show and find out if club racing is for you. Chances are, if you're listening to the show already, you already know what it is. Um, with that said, I want to thank all the subscribers, all the listeners, all the folks commenting. Got the guys, on the platforms responding and talking it up. And there are a lot of folks who are just discovering the Be Forever Cool show right now, and they're excited to have a platform that's talking motorcycle racing. So it's all good. What's coming from Be Forever Cool, and you guys are out here are making it even easier because it's been all love, and especially even this last round of VIR, it's pretty cool. What I'm hearing from the fans and stuff like that. So really appreciate it. But go to beforevercool.com and check us out. Check out what we do. If you want to see all the episodes, that's the best place to find out how to listen to us, whether on Amazon or Spotify or Apple or iHeartRadio, YouTube. We're all on all the platforms and stuff like that, keeping you guys engaged. So definitely go to beforevercool.com for that. We got a couple affiliates. We got some new affiliates we're going to be talking pretty soon about. Can't wait to drop that. I don't have enough time to get what I need done. So we'll already be talking about it. But I have the merchandise. I'm going to test it. I can't wait to talk about it. So definitely check out our affiliates. But the ones that are helping us right now, Woodcraft. Go to Woodcraft website. I believe it's Woodcraft Technology, but just scan the QR code or Google them and check out Woodcraft. Mention Rexy. Get yourself a free T-shirt if you spend over $100 and get that Woodcraft merch. It's always cool to have. And I've been using Woodcraft since I've been racing in 2013. I love their product. I got their tire warmers. I got their clip-ons. I got their rear set. I got Hindle exhaust. I got armor body. You know what I'm saying? Unless they don't make it for a bike, I have Woodcraft, and the products do work. And especially if you go down, they're easy enough to replace. You don't have to replace all of your rear sets and stuff like that. And most times, most people in the garage, they might have spare parts as well. So Woodcraft is the way to go. If you're trying to get that sticky grip, check out Mark 10 Motorsports, Pirelli tires. I've been fortunate enough to race on all the different manufacturers in the U.S. except for like Metzler and Continentals. And I gotta say that the Pirellis are by far my favorite tires. Mention Be Forever Cool, save 10% off your tires. Slick tires, that is, no street tires, but you get to save some money. And again, if you got the big bikes, saving that 10% goes a long way, especially if you're chasing them tents. With that said, let's get into the show and talk to the gang and see what's up. So, let's go in order as we always do. TJ, man, welcome to the show. How you doing? You look like you're ready. You're probably more rested than I am.
Yeah, man. Not much really rested because I got a lot of moving going on, but can't complain. Did watch a lot of racing this weekend, and it was a lot of fun. A lot of craziness happened, so I'm super excited to talk about it. But I can say that is our summer is pretty much over up here in the Northeast. Our heat wave is past. Now it's starting to cool down, so
Don't say
enjoying the
that.
weather while it lasts. I mean, that's what it is. That's what it is.
It's
So,
August 17th, my brother. Come on. Over.
man, from I like the 70s, 80s. So that's where it is now, but it's going down.
All right, all
So
right,
just enjoying it while I can.
all right.
Just
I
enjoying it
mean,
while I can. There's a lot of bikes out right now. You can tell. You can tell. Like
okay,
this past weekend, there's just bikes everywhere. I don't know. The weather was really nice, but you can tell when the season's almost coming to a close. Like everyone's getting their last little fix in. School's about to start in September, so I'm sure everyone's got the tent to their kids. So
right. I hear you say the weather's nice, but I see you got a zip up there, so I don't know what's going on there. But I also see, the stuff in the background is gone, so you definitely in the moving process. So I kind of have an idea how that is. It's not fun, but
yeah,
exciting when you move on to bigger and better things. So I can't wait to check it
right.
out up that way in a few weeks. So we'll find out more about that. No Celtics news this week, so I guess I got nothing to bring
Nope.
there. I know football is going to start soon, and I'll leave it there with that. But let's bring the rest of the gang in, and get this thing going because we
Yeah.
got a lot to talk about. Reese, man, welcome to the show, man. I mean, I might have been sitting like how you were sitting. What I'm saying? I got time though, but you in that truck, I think it's hard to get my the mixer set up on a dash. You know what I'm saying?
Trust me, man. I know the feeling in this damn truck, but you know, it's unfortunately I missed this weekend, but I wasn't there. I had to take care of some things. But I did watch and keep in touch with the guys, and it was a good weekend till race three that we'll talk about. And you know, wish I could have been there, but I'll be at Coda.
Yeah, I'm reminded of when I used to sleep in a Volkswagen Jetta A1 back in the day. So having the space that you have, as I can see in the background, is a lot nicer. You have that kind of space, but we're a long way from sleeping in Jettas and Gulfs.
Yeah, I'm not sleeping in no Jetta, man. I know. I got more space than that, but trust me, I'll be home soon in my own bed.
Yeah,
More space.
listen, man, that's what it's all about right there. But I'm excited to talk about this weekend. We do have a lot to cover because Motor America is pretty dope, and I'll leave it at that until we all get on the screen. Lewis, man, welcome to the show. How you doing, man? It's good to see you at Coda. I mean, at VIR.
Yeah, man, it's good to see hang out with you a little bit of VIR, do our live cast. Seems like we had quite a few people tuning in and watching us do like the early broadcast. I think we're getting to the point where we might become like the new Madden pregame show, man.
Listen, man, from your lips to God's ears, man. I think so. I mean, people want to get up. People are up early, so they need something to do. And we're hoping to fill that spot because we see it when we get to the track and we are coffee is enough. It's too early to start firing the grill up and have breakfast and stuff like that. And you kind of just it's too early to make noise. But now that we're making noise, I think we're going to see some grills start getting fired up earlier. And I mean, hopefully, next season or the end of the season, we're gonna have a real pregame that can rival the likes of the Patriots or the Buffalo Bills up that way.
Yeah, no, I think it's so far it seems to be going good. I got a lot of positive feedback online from just people reaching out saying that they tuned in and some of the predictions that we made actually came through. A lot of the things that we said actually happened. So they were like, it's everybody that's in the sport likes to talk about it, but when they hear other people talking about it, and then they can kind of align, like, oh, they said that this person's having a rough weekend, and then they see them having a rough weekend, and we say somebody else is saying they're feeling really good on the bike, and then they go out there and they perform. We said that Hank could wrap it up this weekend. I don't think anybody else was saying that.
Right.
And then Hank wrapped it up this weekend, and just Bobby was having a really good Friday practice. And we said, it seems like this is one of those tracks that he hates, but he does really well at tracks that he doesn't like for some reason. Like he hates them so much that he ends up doing well at them. And we said that, he's going to probably have a positive weekend, yourself, me, everybody down the pod. And he had a good weekend for the most part. So it's good, man. And then, let's get the show rolling because we got a lot to go over, man.
Yeah, we do have a lot to go over, and I don't even know which order to start as I was thinking about it because I've had a lot of time to drive. I mean, Reese, I don't know what do you do to pass the time when you're driving? Are you listening to classical music? You learning Spanish? Like, what's the dealio? What's going on when you put in the miles? Because I'm listening to a lot of dancehall music when I'm riding.
Maybe that's it. You better listen to some music or put a movie on. Do something. I'm sorry. Do something, man. That's it. That's all you can do.
I will say this, and I'll start with this. And for me, um, this is my first year going to all the events in any capacity, much less as a podcast and photographer and stuff like that, and covering it. But I have to say, this year, and Reese and Lewis, you can tell me better. It's like one of the best years I've seen. I've gone to some MotoGP rounds and stuff like that, but you know I think if you're a fan or you're on the sidelines a little bit and thinking about going to a MotoAmerica race event, I think it's definitely worth it. It's worth the money to go because like I mean, there's 2 rounds left, and all the rounds I've been to, all the folks I see, the majority of folks I see are having a good time. I will leave it for TJ for last, but we'll leave it to Reese first because you're kind of there all the time. What are your thoughts seeing this year and what's going on there?
I mean, I think it's been a great year, but I think I said that in the beginning of the year. I think Lewis even said it. I think this is the closest that you're going to get to old school AMA racing this year just because of the field is so stacked. Um, you know, Moto America is putting on, a show. There's, they take a bunch of feedback from fans and, us as, crew members, and just to have more stuff out there for the fans to do. I mean, me personally, as a crew member, as somebody out there, the as what they call like a false grid for the fans that come out there right before the Superbike. I think it's a great thing. It lets the fans get out there and see what we got to go through to see, what all the crew guys have to go through, putting tires on, doing the last minute adjustment, how the riders are like mentally preparing themselves. I mean, me personally, it's like kind of just chaos because it's, you're trying to get through with tires, or I'm trying to get through with something. It's just chaos for us, but it's actually great for the fans.
Right. It's real easy to lose an Allen wrench, bro.
Yo, what? Trying to do something, trying to run through fans with a bunch of hot tires, trying to get them on the bikes quick. It's like, yo, move. It's a pain.
Yeah. But no, it is pretty dope to see, and I did take that in this weekend. Lewis, man, what are your thoughts on that? On just the way Motor America is moving. I kind of may have spoke to some people, so we kind of may be saying something nice right now, just to kind of maybe get you squared away. But we're just doing it because we love motorcycles.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything nice about them. I will say this: MotoAmerica has made some good choices that have helped lay the groundwork for where we're at now. I think there's still a long way to go. I think there's still a lot of opportunities to make this even better. But I think the biggest thing in the last couple of years that has changed is the influx of teams that have the right funding. Teams like Orange Cat coming into this sport originally just as a stock 1000 bike, and now as a full superbike team with the right funding, able to field really competitive bikes, really competitive team, and they're every weekend. Somebody like the Ray Hall Racing team coming in, another big team that has money, that has the opportunity to put like really competitive bikes and really competitive riders out there. So, if you think about the previous couple of years, it was, for years, it was just M4 and Attack. And unfortunately, Suzuki had nothing for the Yamaha. So the Yamaha was just dominating the championship for a very long time. And then we had Warhorse come in, and Warhorse kind of started to be that disruptor and push a little bit on the Yamahas and make them a little bit, actually have to win the championships. And then even themselves, they won some championships in Super Sport and Superbike. And then we had Ray Hall come in. And originally Ray Hall just kind of like paced themselves. They went into Super Sport. They raced there for a couple of years. This year they have a really strong Super Sport team, as well as now they have a Superbike. and they're able to be competitive as well. And then Orange Cat was the last piece. So now we went from what was really a 2-team series to like a 5 or 6-team series. M4 is still struggling, and it's nothing to do with M4. The people at M4 put everything they can into being competitive every weekend. Richie Escalante is like one of the best riders out there. I mean, he's got a limitation, and it's the equipment that he's on. But he still puts on a great show. He's still up there. He's still competitive when he can be competitive. And that's what really has made this sport exciting again, is we have really strong super sport team. We have really strong superbike team. And I think it's a good platform to keep moving. And I think what we should look at is, these stock 1000 bikes. What can we do to get these stock 1000 bikes to be super bikes and just make it a full superbike grid? Because having like 6 people racing the stock 1000 race within the superbike race, it really is not doing anything for anybody. Those guys aren't winning any money or any significant money, but they're putting in just as much time and effort to go to all the rounds. Mm-hmm. So maybe let's find some funding and get those guys all on superbikes and now have a 20 superbike grid instead of having like a 15 superbike grid and like, a 6 stock 1000 grid or a 7 stock 1000 grid. But the direction's good. I mean, if you look at the attendance, for the most part, it's been up. A couple of places have had record attendances. And I think there still needs to be some tweaking, man. Like this weekend, if I can give you one complaint about this weekend, is these triple header weekends have a positive and a negative, and we'll go over it at the end of the show. But triple header weekends are a double-edged sword, man.
No doubt. And this is one of them that it really kind of showed. TJ, man, you know what I'm saying? You're a fan. I'm a fan. What are your thoughts? You've been following these guys for a while now. I know you're a huge fan of Heron and Hayes and these guys. So, what are your thoughts? I mean, we've been doing this podcast now for a little bit. So, you also have some, for lack of a better word, professional experience as well. What's good, man?
No, I mean, I think MotoAmerica has been doing great. When I first started watching, they didn't have the baggers. So there's still a lot of riders out there like, Josh Herron and Kyle Wyman, all those guys who are kind of on the rider side taking the charge to help promote the sport, is, like doing whatever they can. There's a lot of good riders out there that we see coming from all um, other teams like, Ducati, like Lawrence Baz coming from overseas and stuff like that. So it's good to see these riders coming from other series. But on the other end, I think that MotoAmerica also keeps the fans in a way active.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you are there as person, like you get to walk around and actually see the riders and communicate with a lot of motorcycle enthusiasts. And even watching on the TV side, they have Mike on the mic, who keeps you pretty busy and entertained. So it's entertaining. I feel like it's improving a little bit as far as being a fan. Kind of makes you want to go. And as far as being there, when I went to Jersey, like on outside of the track, you can participate in renting bikes and ride with coaches and stuff like that to see if you want to purchase another motorcycle. So you can be so active there. And plus you can watch the best riders. So I think they've been improving. I like the direction that it's going, and yeah, just hope it gets a lot better, obviously.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think it will. And I think like the last. I mean, I think this year has been exciting for me to navigate and work and stuff like that. But as far as a fan, definitely. And so let's talk about this. This weekend. I mean, we'll talk about Super Sport first, and then we'll go into Superbike. I mean, weather played a big part, guys. Between the rain and the heat. Pretty wild to see. We've been saying, Heron, it's his championship to lose. What you guys saw happen, is that what you were hoping to see, or can you believe what happened? I mean, Heron was the one to crack under pressure, and he should be the steward of this thing and not crack under pressure and really push it Bender. But it seems like, Bender got a little bit more for Herring than maybe we had thought, or maybe we already know. What are your thoughts, TJ, on the super sport, race 1, race 2?
I mean, race one, let's see. Man, that boy Bender, he is good. That dude is good, man. To not have been to most of these tracks and perform how he does, and Virginia is such a tight track, and just to get it done in the first race, it just shows how good he is. But Josh Herron, man, I mean, he spoke on it. He wanted help. He wanted someone to jump in the mix. He wanted someone to help him try to take down Bender, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of bit him in the ass in the first race. Like here you got Josh Hayes in the mix. Battling with all three of them, them two, and he end up having to hustle towards the end of the race and cause a mistake on himself. And and that's kind of not what he asked for. He wanted to have them and have defense so he can kind of have an easier ride. But he made a mistake. So race one bit him, and I think that's a race that he should have won because he needs to beat Darren Bender.
Mm-hmm.
You know, race two is a whole different story.
Yeah, the
I
weather
mean, the weather bit him, and your choice of tires and everything was a big part. And I think how humid it was down there. I mean, who knows how fast the track is going to dry out, but it seems to dry out really fast, even though it was wet when riders got on there. But the choice seemed to be slicks. And Josh Herron made the mistake. I don't know if they took a little while to get his tires on, but for him not to enter the pit until, he couldn't start
hit,
until
hit,
he had,
hit the start from pit lane.
yeah, he had to start from pit lane. And he worked his way all the way up to the front. So he would have had the chance. Same with Darren Bender. He had to start from the back. So,
Yep. No.
I mean, it was an interesting weekend. And I think he kind of screwed it up with race one. So
Right.
here it is. They got a couple more races left. It's going to be tight.
No, it's definitely gonna be tight. What are your thoughts, Reese, on that? I mean, I think the race 2 a little bit, but more race 1. But it seemed like Hayes and a few people, the only people that had, the Cal Crutchlow, Jack Miller in mind. These, Zarco that says, "Hey, I'm gonna take." Well, not Zarco, Bender, Brad Bender. That is, I'm gonna take a chance on Slick. What are your thoughts seeing, race 1 and the mistake that Herron made? But then also let's touch on race 2, and we'll go around the horn to talk about Hayes's win in race 2. But let's talk about Herron as far as championship.
I mean, race one. I mean, it just seemed like Darren Bender couldn't put almost a wheel wrong. He was right there the whole time, watching it, and I was just like, I mean, we all said it in the beginning of the season that this is Josh Herron's year to lose. I mean, unfortunately, you didn't know what Bender had for you, but it's kind of strange that a guy that's never been on these tracks, never been on these tires, can come in and actually do what he's doing. That just shows the type of caliber and rider that this guy is. He's put a lot of time in. He's had practice in at Jersey. He's had practice in at Coda, and I think he had some practice in at Laguna. So he's had a little bit of time, but not as much time as Herron. I just think Herron made a mistake in race 1. He could have, but it just wasn't Herron's at that time. It's just not your day. It's just we have those times where it's not your day. Race 2, watching the video, Herron did say that he came into when he came into pit row, he kind of hung out there for about 4 seconds, just trying to figure out what he wanted to do, what tires he wanted to go with, because he had an issue from before going to slicks, so he didn't really have the confidence going in the slicks. But I know I haven't always said to anybody. I said to JD on the phone. I said to a couple guys since I wasn't there. I said, hey, and this goes back some years ago when we were there. I told him, I said, JD, you remember this track? When this track, if it rains and that sun comes out, this track dries rapid.
Yeah.
It dries very rapid. Yeah. He's like, yeah, I remember that. So knowing that, and you as a rider seeing that the track, it stopped raining and it's it was already hot and it's a lot of steam coming from that track, this track is going to dry quick. So, that was a mistake on him not to go to, not to go to slicks at the beginning.
Right. And in all
Or
fairness,
you should, or go quicker, like, hey, get these slicks on now. Let me get out of here.
in all fairness, the rain was coming down like somebody just threw a bucket of water on you.
I mean, I've been there, done that. Like, if, like I said, in the years, this was going back years when I first started. And, I think it was like 2015 or 2016 when Suzuki was still Yoshimura. And we still had Graves and it was still factory Yamaha. Like, we lost Graves' awning. The awning went completely over the truck. It was that bad of a weather. And we were on the grid and they kicked us off the grid because that weather came in heavy. So it comes in heavy, but it goes out quick. So if it does go out and you see that track start steaming, throw slicks on. It's going to dry. It's going to dry quick.
All right, no doubt, man, and it did. And it was a beautiful race to watch. If you were not Josh Herron, Lewis, man, you were there on Saturday. I think parts of Sunday. What are your thoughts on the Super Sport, man?
Super Sport kind of went the way I said it would go. One of the things that I said is I thought Josh Hayes, with as many laps as he's been around there, I think he was going to be competitive because this track's not going to accent the weaknesses of the R9 right now, and we saw that. He took advantage of it. He got on the podium twice, including winning a race and going back in front of, I believe now he's back in front of Cam Beaubier as the most winning rider across all classes.
He is in front.
So he's up now. So when Cam gets back, I don't know how long that'll last because Cam's an incredible rider. But for right now, my fellow over 50 rider is helping us all live the dream through his accomplishments. As for Binder, fast knows how to go fast. If you're fast, you can go to any track and you can figure it out, man. And this guy is showing that there's levels to this, and he's on that level where he can go anywhere and figure stuff out and work with the right team. And that's the other good thing with he's on a team that has a lot of data, that's been doing this for a few years now and knows how to put a bike out there that's very competitive and how to look at these things. And as far as the weather conditions, VIR is one of those tracks because there's not a lot of there's not many trees covering the track for the most part. There's only a couple of areas where trees cover the track or are near the track. We have some tracks that have a lot of shade because of where the tree's located, and VIR is not one of them. It's very out in the open, and once the sun comes out, that track dries really, really fast. And, Josh Herron just made a really bad call. I saw an interview he made where he came in and his tire technician was telling him one thing, and the Dunlop guy was telling him one thing, somebody else was telling him one thing. And then, when he went out, he realized, oh man, you know what? I got to get on slicks. The rain tires, I'm not going to be able to do anything on rain tires. And again, we had, I think it was a little bit of a sped up launch procedure because of the rain, because there was delays. They were trying to get everything back on schedule. So all these things kind of just led up to just a bad call being made. And, he was able to battle his way through and just to show how much better he is than 90% of the field, he was able to finish where he finished. But had he not had to start from pit lane, what could have been?
Right. No, yeah, what could have been is indeed. Let's talk about, two riders, your boy, DeMario, and let's talk about Hayes, because Hayes did capitalize on the second place on Saturday and obviously won the race on Sunday. Even though Josh made the mistake, Hayes was still there for the most part in the championship. On Saturday, DeMario looks like, if I'm getting this right, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, he had the fastest lap on Saturday, which is pretty impressive. And he did lead some races, some laps as well. So we'll start with TJ and go around the horn, man. What are your thoughts on DeMario and also Hayes?
Yeah, I know. Lewis been talking about DeMario a lot this year, so it's good to see, a rider improving and to see him jump out in the first race to, take the lead. just shows his confidence to try to hang with the guys up front, knowing that he had the machine under him to keep up. So, I mean, he's very confident. He knows he has the pace, and as long as he has the right machine, I mean, he can do it. I mean, he showed that he can keep up. And he's been riding pretty well all season. Granted, the second race didn't go as well, but yeah, Demario's definitely improving from the start of the season till now. So he's definitely a rider to look out for the rest of the year and going into next year. And then Josh Hayes just been impressive all year, in my opinion. Uh, Not even speaking on his age, just where he's been and how long he's been out there, just still to compete and just be top 10, mainly top 5, and you know just to pull out a race win. You would think that like a girl like Kayla would get one before he would, knowing that the improvement she's on. But the guy with the most experience, still show that he can do it. It's just very impressive. Uh, and he has the pace, but he also made the right decision. And he had like a 24 or 25-second lead. Like, I don't even know what that would feel like racing a race. Like, like I know you still got to push, but like just knowing that much time's ahead of you and you're not seeing it decrease or increase is just, I just feel happy for that guy.
I'm not comparing myself to Josh Hayes. I did have one race when I was at Loudon, and I could be going up turn 4, and I can see people just getting to turn 2. So it's a nice feeling when you're like, oh man. I mean, there's two
Right?
thoughts. Get out of gas or you relax, but it is a nice feeling. So I can only imagine with Hayes having that lead
Yeah,
on one. He's like pinching
that's the
himself.
opposite for me. I'll be looking at going up turn 4. I see people coming at turn 2. I'm like, all right, here they come.
Not
So yeah, to keep that pace, that's very impressive.
Yeah, no doubt. It is pretty impressive. Reese, man, what are your thoughts on those 2 riders? Yeah, I mean, you've seen Hayes around for a long time, obviously, and Mario, 17 years old. I mean, we forget that these people, they're kids.
I mean, for what Demario has already done, I mean, he's actually showing that he is an upcoming talent. They're just trying. He's trying to get his feet under him, trying to figure out the bike, trying to be able to work with his crew, and as a young rider, it's coming down to, can he tell his crew chief? Can he talk to his crew chief? Can he tell him what's going on with the bike? And diag what's going on, what he feels, and everything else. That's where it's coming down to, and it seemed like that's starting to come together a little bit. It's going to come together, but he's still young, so he's trying to figure everything out, and that's the biggest factor as a young rider. Cam had that issue coming in as a young rider. Garrett, everybody, they all had that, trying to be able to talk to their crew chief and let them know, hey, this is what I feel, this is what's going on, this is what needs. I need. So it's coming along, and you can see it. It's all in race 1. Fortunately, race 2, he had everybody started from pit row, but eventually it'll come along. With Hayes, you saw that in race 1, he was up there battling. But then this is Hayes. Hayes is one of the riders that has the most laps, the most consecutive wins, the most podiums at this track. He knows this track better than anyone on the grid. This track particularly here, because he's been around for that many years when it used to be the Big Kahuna, everything. So he knows this track very well. So was I surprised? No, because I said it going in. I said he is going to be one of those spoilers.
Mhm.
He's going to be that person, and sure enough, he did prove it. He showed it during the weather time, and he showed it during the dry. He is that person. So for him to be able to do it, I commend him doing it, and I was glad to see him get up there and still be able to put on a podium and win. So
Right. Lewis, man, I mean, it seems like we got a lot of folks on the show that's kind of predicting about the riders, how these events are going to turn out, man. We got to start keeping score or something, or we might be like 5 and have to break up. What's going on?
Well, it's funny because I actually talked to both of those riders this week, and I talked to Demario after his impressive showing, and it was crazy because he still has some arm pump issues, And for a young guy, like he's trying to find the right mix and he's trying to find the right setup to kind of relieve his the pressure on his hand. He was telling me that through some of the places where he can kind of be a little bit more relaxed, he's putting more pressure on his left hand because he's trying to avoid right hand pump as much as right arm pump as much as possible. And I can tell you from having worked on his suits, his right arm, typically all his suits get like an extra like 6.5 centimeters around the forearm of the right arm because his arm pumps up so much during a race.
Wow.
So it's significant amount, but he's trying to figure out a way. And I spoke to him, and even when I looked at his hands, like I could see the calluses on his left hand where, you know, he's putting so much pressure on his left hand so that he doesn't have to work so hard with his right arm to keep his arm pumped down. And even with all that, he's able to do what he did. He's still learning. He's still getting better. And he had a very, very great education this weekend following Herron and Binder around and seeing how they're battling each other, how they're taking corners. And he was able to stay with them. You know, he was able to record the fastest lap of the race, using them as a reference. And, you know, I've said it, this is his first year in this class. This is one of these guys that I believe is the future of road racing in the U.S. There's a couple of others that are on my short list of like, these kids are the truth. And these kids are the ones that are going to take the place of your Bobby Fongs and your Cameron Beaubiers and your SDKs in the next, you know, 4 to 6 years. And so that was great. And then it was funny enough because I spoke with Josh Hayes, and you know, he's one of those guys that always believes he can win. And he's always going to throw the kitchen sink when he can throw the kitchen sink at it. And he came into this weekend with a lot of confidence because he's had a couple of good rounds over the past couple of rounds. Like he's been finding ways to make the R9 work, even though it's not exactly what he wants. And he's been finding himself on the podium more often than not and having the opportunity to win. Like he's not going to throw it away, or having the opportunity to battle at the front. He's going to do everything he can. You could still see every lap where the R9 was weak to the Ducati. You could physically see it. You could see how he can close in, get within a bike length or less, and then all of a sudden, as they're coming on the front straightaway, he's 5-6 bike lengths behind. You know, you can see where the weaknesses in the R9 are right now, and if he can figure that out, like he has the talent to take it to both Herron and Binder on any given Sunday. You know, which is great. And you know, we had a funny talk because he's like, you know, I've been doing this a long time. He's like, when I started racing, he's like, I wore Technic suits. He's like, I don't think there's anybody in this paddock that even knows what a Technic suit looks like.
Right.
That's actually racing right now. And
I was thinking they were like boots, but
no, they had suits, man. I even had a suit. Very honestly, I had a suit because I went to an event like we're talking like early 90s. And I went to an event and Josh Hayes was actually at that event racing then.
Wow.
And there was somebody selling Technic suits at the track. And at the time I needed a suit and I ended up buying one because I was like, you know, I looked at his suit. I was like, oh, this is a pretty good suit for the price they're selling it, you know, and I need a suit. Let me buy it. And I bought it. And then he's like, and, you know, he's been with RSI Chi for the last, like, you know, 14 so years. And he's like, you know, I have suits older than some of the kids that I'm racing against right now. Right. He's like, and they're still fast. So for me to compete with them, you know, I'm just happy to be able to be up here doing what I can do, understanding that, you know, I'm technically not supposed to, nobody expects me to do what I can do, you know?
Right. I mean, in all honesty, this is, I mean, he's doing the equivalent of what, you know, Messi's doing, LeBron is doing, you know what I'm saying? Playing at a high level.
Rings? Going to better teams and chasing rings? Sure. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I thought you
we'll go
about LeBron.
I mean, you know, he's with a really good team this year. I mean, he could have been on a team, but I don't want to throw anything on it. But he's chasing something. So he's on the team he's on. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with chasing rings, man. That's all I'm just saying. I mean, you know what I'm saying? When you got nothing else to chase, it's the least you can do.
Retire. That's what you can do.
He chased that hairline.
He's still winning.
Well, I mean,
that hairline gone.
but this is the thing, guys, right? When you see a Josh Hayes that's riding at a high level in his 50s, and when you see him say retire, and we're making light of LeBron chasing rings or whatever the case may be. But if you're an older athlete out there and you want to come back, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to go with what you feel. You can't just say retire, regardless of whatever you're chasing.
What do you got to prove?
I mean, I think for Josh Hayes, it's what else am I gonna do? Like, this has been his life for so long, and even when he's not racing, and Reese will tell you, there's no other veteran in the paddock that goes and talks and tries to help them more than him. Like, if when you walk around the paddock, you'll see him sitting with a random rider looking at their data. And he's not getting paid for that. He's not he's a rider coach, but he's not getting paid. He's literally trying to pass along what he has and his knowledge to the next generation. If they want it, I would hope if they should take it. If he offers his insight, absolutely give him the time. This dude's been there, done it, collected the names, and has the trophies. But he doesn't have to do that. He does it literally because this is what he loves to do.
LeBron's doing the same thing. I'm not defending.
LeBron does it. LeBron does it for rings, bro. Love of the rings.
Listen. You can't do that. Don't even bring LeBron. LeBron does it with other collective people. He chased the ring. Hayes did it by himself.
Okay, no chasing rings for Hayes. All right.
Yeah, that's all we got to say. You messed it up with LeBron, bro. LeBron threw the whole thing.
Not even close.
Never mention that name here again.
We can say I'm going to mention LeBron again because he's playing.
Jordan, you can mention Jordan, the actual GOAT.
But most people listening to the show know more about LeBron James than they do about Michael Jordan, other than what size they should get. I'm just saying. But
let me ask you a question: are you gonna go buy a LeBron shoe, or are you gonna go buy a Michael Jordan shoe?
I don't know one person that even owns a LeBron shoe.
I'm gonna buy a Be Forever Cool shoe.
Yeah, I mean,
they're coming.
I ain't buying either, but I know more people will go buy Jordans because it's the name.
The only time I see LeBron shoes is at the Nike outlet on sale. So
70%
off, man.
Let's move on. Motorcycle.
Let's get back to motorcycle racing. Which, by the way, Michael Jordan had a motorcycle racing team. LeBron doesn't.
Fact check.
And did test ride a GP bike.
And this a GP bike. Yep.
I'll leave it there. There's more.
Okay.
I'll leave it for the LeBron fans. LeBron. I just have knowledge. Let's talk about SBK, man. As far as Superbike guys, I mean, we were talking about this. Reese's obviously want Yamaha to win the title, and we were sitting here saying, what Bobby has to do and stuff like that, and to win 1-2. And the way he did it was pretty impressive. It gives hope that he might be still be in this. He's still in the fight for this season. But we'll go around the horn. We'll leave this for Reese last. But TJ, what are your thoughts on this weekend? How Bobby did? What are your thoughts on with the red flag and just the outcome of race 3? Because it seems like that's the more dramatic thing. But I think race 1 and 2 was still pretty impressive to watch, and the outcome obviously could have been different.
Yeah, no, I mean, as we said in the live, I was definitely rooting for the Yamaha guys. Definitely rooting for JD or Bobby. But speaking like back in the past, we always talk about how Bobby rides, and compared to everyone else, like his line is a lot tighter, going around corners than usual riders. Like he would rather take the tighter line, as like Reese and Lewis would say. And I didn't really understand. I understood like the tighter line, but like this track actually showed it, because there's times that Bobby, like he overtake a lot of riders race 1 and race 2 to get to that number 1 spot. And his choice of line was just much tighter than anyone else's. And this track is very hard to pass on. So the fact that he was able to do it and have the pace, like he rode his ass off. I mean, I thought it was pretty impressive. So I mean, it was really good to see him to get back up there and give him the confidence. This track really worked for him. And from hearing that this ain't his best track, he kind of hates the place. But, for him to just, I don't want to say come out of nowhere, but to get race 1 and 2, it's definitely a good look and build confidence for the team and himself. I'm sure he could have probably pulled the hat trick, but that third race was a little tricky. I don't know if it was more of a rider fatigue from everybody trying to chase turn 1, knowing they had to just get out front. But yeah, he could have probably had a hat trick. I
It's
mean, he could have had 3 in a row.
red flag fatigue, man. It's a different
Yeah,
mindset.
that is
Um,
also a little fatigue.
yeah, no doubt. Reese, I mean, you know what I'm saying? You on the inside, you got the bat phone number and stuff like that. How what happened? How did Bobby do this weekend? Especially how the season kind of played out this year. I mean, race 1, race 2, and again, I like TJ said, I think race 3, I think he would have been fighting for the top podium spot as well if it didn't turn out how it turned out. So, is it just he's healthy? Is it you guys? I try to get. We had Dustin on Saturday to fill your shoes. He claims the shoes not red that he had to fill, but we'll leave it for that. What's the secret sauce, man?
I mean, honestly, I mean, what Bobby did this weekend, that's the Bobby we all know that he can do. Um, he looked very good this weekend. All weekend, he looked very good. He was very fast. He had the pace. He had the fastest pace overall. You can see it in race 1 and 2. I haven't really talked to the guys to kind of get any insight on what happened in race 3. I know everything is still being processed and digested, and everything's still being downloaded. But it just looked like either somewhere in that tight turn, it looked like his normal line, something you got touched somewhere, and it could have upset that whole bike and took him out. Because if you look at it, there's a picture of Bobby having a crash, and Bobby's actually in front. So it's kind of weird. So it's one of those weird ones that's just like, what happened. But overall, I think he's done very well this weekend. I mean, we're not far. We're still in the. Both guys are still in the hunt. It's still in the hunt. I mean, there's still 125 points up for grabs. I think we're like 30 and 38 points out for the season. So we're still right there in it. Hopefully we're going to Coda. We all know that's Horsepower Alley, and we'll put our best foot forward going this year.
Right. No, it's pretty close. And you heard TJ talk about the lines that Bobby take. Is that his vibe just to take tighter turns on a Yamaha, which obviously the Yamaha we know is the kind of bike that likes to do that.
Yeah, I mean that's Bobby's lines. He likes to take the corners real tight. He likes to kind of cut the track and take that corner. Here at VIR, I mean VIR is pretty much a one line going through. It's a tight track, tight technical track. So he can kind of use that line, what he was doing, and actually it benefited his riding style. You can actually see it. Where a lot of guys in the bigger tracks, they like to take the whole track up and use the actual corner to keep going to maintain the corner speed. So hopefully, it just was one of those tracks that benefited Bobby. Hopefully coming here, and he did the same thing last year. He did. So knowing coming into this round, this was one of Bobby's tracks. Like you said, he hates it, but it's one of his. The way he rides, this is his riding style, and it works for this track. And we just hope he takes it in Dakota, knows that he's got to do a little tweaks and tunes. I mean, we all got to do our little tweaks and tunes to get it ready, but we'll see what he has.
Okay, that's what's up. Lewis, man, what are your thoughts on the Yamaha, Bobby, and what's happening? And I'll leave it there.
No, I think the Yamaha has been showing that it's still competitive. We always make fun of it being like, that and the Suzuki being the older statesmen of motorcycles and racing, but they're still competitive. Attack is still putting out a super strong package. This is one of those tracks that really the Yamaha benefits from, because it's a track that requires a lot of movement, a lot of left, right, a lot of corner edge grip, a lot of side of the tire speed. And this is for some reason Bobby takes lines that most other guys avoid because they think it kills their speed, but he uses those lines to his advantage, and then he's still able to go faster than everybody else. On Friday he put in the fastest lap. And then on the second practice on Friday, he was putting in consistently the fastest lap. And then a bunch of guys came in with a few laps left, and they all switched over to softs to try to run a very, very fast lap. And he ended up, I think, in like 6th or 7th overall in the times. But Bobby wasn't working on the fastest lap. You know, he was working on setting up his bike for when the tires went off. Because when the tires went off after about 8, 9, 10 laps, all of a sudden you saw Bobby going way faster than everybody else, or at least maintaining the speed that nobody else could maintain. And he did it in race 1. He did it again in race 2. And in race 3, he was doing it again, you know, and before the red flag came out, like he was already starting to set everybody up. It's like, hey, I built my bike to work the best when the tires are at the worst.
Right.
And all I need to do is maintain in the top 4. Nobody breaks away from me. And once the tires start to drop and everybody else is going slower, I'm still going to be able to reel off 124s all day, 125s all day. So, and that's what he did. And, you know, as far as the incident that happened, you know, I talked to him briefly, and he said when he got up and he saw all the bikes there, he was like, did I just cause everybody to crash? Like, he didn't realize like what happened. He went in, and you know, the problem is that the camera angle that was shown on TV didn't actually show the corner itself.
Right.
And it didn't show where everybody closed in on each other. And, you know, from his perspective, and again, everybody's got a story. Everybody's going to have, from his perspective, he had already passed and he was in a slot where he was going to be fine. He went in about the same speed and angle that he had gone in before. He was going to try to run the closer line. And while he was leaned over and trying to get into that closer line that he does through turn 1, because if you watched the second half of turn 1, he was really close on the inside to get a really sharp drive out into the next corner. Everybody was going wider. He felt something happened on the bike, and the next thing he knew, he was on the ground.
Right.
And so he doesn't know if he made contact with somebody or somebody leaned in on him or whatever was the situation. He was on the ground, and then his bike was on the ground. He looked back. He saw SDK's bike was on the ground. And then when he got up, he saw like a bunch of other people on the ground. He's like, oh, man, did I just cause a chain reaction? And then when you actually look at it, he had an incident with SDK, but the other incident that was next to that had nothing to do with him. Matthew kind of slowed down a little bit because he saw what was happening as far as everybody coming in, and Cam P came super hot. He kind of hit Matthew. He caused an incident, and then Ben Smith, because it's required for him to crash one Ducati a weekend, he decided this is the time for me to throw the Ducati in the pitch as well, and he crashed as well. So it was just, you know, pure carnage.
I got my Ducati shirt on, man. Yeah,
that's all right, man. You're going to have to buy more because they need parts, man, because at the rate they're going, I mean, I saw some demolished Ducatis this weekend. I mean, Baz, they brought his bike back in like a milk crate after that one crash during practice or whatever. It was broken in half, man. Like, I've seen bad, like the rim looked like somebody grabbed it from both sides and peeled it apart. It was bad, man. This track is unforgiving.
It was bad, but it was also good to see him win the race 3. Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, I feel bad for PJ. Just talking about calluses, PJ got some on his hands that looked pretty gnarly from where I was standing in victory lane on where the media stand. He was looking at his hand a lot, like it was pretty crazy. But like. For Lars Baz, who for many years, you know, fought in the world championship as far as world SBK on the Ducatis, you know, back in the day, came pretty close, but he was going up against this guy called Jonathan Ray, and so everybody had to take a back seat to that Cowie for 6 years. Let's go around the horn and talk about what that means to see him, you know, be able to fight. And, you know, you talk about Josh Hayes, who, you know, if there's an opportunity to win a race, I think, you know, after the crash happened, the crash happened with Fong and those guys, and there was no red flag, and they just let it play out. I think Loris is just like, this is blood in the water. This is going to be mine. What are your thoughts, TJ, on seeing that?
You know, a funny thing is, I haven't realized how much of a vet Lawrence Bass really is. You know, when I first started watching the sport, like I seen him come from, I forget which series, but then he came to MotoAmerica, like around the Tony Elias days. So, he's such a good rider. He's been around. He knows what he's doing, and to still have the opportunity to ride, it's just a gift. And a rider's out, and to still have the chance to compete, and it's crazy that he can get a win because you don't know if he's gonna get a ride again. So like, even if he doesn't, he can say he's come out on top. And yeah, I feel like it's really good to see that from Loris Baz, just knowing what he's been through, and still that have the confidence and can get a podium.
Yeah, I agree. And he's a fill-in rider, so we don't know when Cam is coming back. So, and the question is, why is he a fill-in rider? Seriously, what are your thoughts, Reese?
I mean, what he accomplished, it was great. I mean, it was nice to see him up there. Because I'll be honest, I swear to God, I didn't think he was gonna make that pass on turn one. I think he came from deep. That was deep. I was like, Jesus Christ, he's not gonna stop, but he sure enough did. So to see some of that and to make that pass going up the hill, that was something different. I mean, you don't really see a pass going into that corner going up the hill. You see it coming out, but it was something nice to watch that guy ride, and it was nice to get him up there. And as a fill-in rider, I mean, I'm not in that predicament to ask why or wonder. It's just going to be, from talking to a couple people there. I know they're trying to get Cam back here, and Coda is not Coda Jersey. I know they are trying to get him back this year. But it's gonna be something once Cam come back to see what they do with Bass. Maybe they keep him, or it's because he actually is helping develop that bike. So
yeah, and he knows the difference because he's been on Ducatis for a grip now. So honestly, and been successful on it as well. Lewis, what are your thoughts seeing that, man? I mean, did you learn a couple of French words?
French fry, French. No, I really like Loris Baz. If you've ever met him in the paddock, he's the nicest guy. He's always up to take a picture with somebody, always down to sign an autograph. Like, he's just one of the most approachable people in the paddock, which is, if you look at him, like, I mean, he's in his spot. He's the dude is, I want to say 6'3", man. He looks so tall.
Yeah, so.
But he's the nicest guy in the paddock, always smiling. Nobody has anything bad to say about him. So when he could pull out a win, and actually in the previous race, he was doing really well. He's been doing really well in the latter part of races. In the latter part of races, he's coming on real strong. Like when the tires drop and the fuel load goes down, he seems to come on really strong. And the red flag happened just at a point where maybe it helped benefit him. The fuel load came enough down that with the restart and with the people that kind of were pushed out of his way, he had kind of a clear shot. I hate to say it, but, he had a clear shot to win. Yeah. And he saw this as, hey, this is a great opportunity. I have the fuel load that I want. The tires are where I want them to be, where I usually get stronger. And he was able to maximize it, man. And, for PJ, I don't know what to say, man. Like the top step of the podium does not like PJ, man. Like he's had so many bites at the apple, and he just can't seem to get on that top step, man. I hope whatever it is, he can figure it out. I know, he's been in constant recovery mode from injuries, from all the crashes he's had this year. I would like to see him at some point this season be on the top step, because if he does, it'll be the first year that MotoAmerica has 7 different winners in a season.
Okay. For any other reason but that? We like that.
No other reason than that. I don't really care anything else about him.
He's secretly a fan.
Yeah.
Huh?
When he was leading, I was thinking, what is Lewis thinking about right now?
I was like, I was looking at the bike and I was like, well, it doesn't look like he's going to crash, because the bike isn't really moving too much and he's not overriding the bike. Like you can physically see somebody when they're overriding the bike. Right. Like you can see body movement, you can see movement in the bike, you can see little things that if you're really good at noticing them, you'd be like, that dude's going to crash. Yeah. And I didn't see any of that, even though like I knew the tires were going to drop off and he was going to get some squirming out of the rear. Like that's normal. Right. And I really thought that, this might be the one, because I I really didn't think that he was going to get passed by Bass. Let's put it that way. Like I didn't think he was going to get passed by Bass. Like I didn't see that. That was not on my bingo card for Sunday, the third race.
Oh no, I called Baz was going to win it. Like, but I was thinking PJ was going to crash out and Baz win it. I wasn't thinking he was going to pass.
Well, see, I wasn't as bad as Rexy. I didn't think PJ was going to crash out because if he crashed out, I think somebody from Rahal would meet him at that corner and beat him to death.
So I thought he was going to crash out. I ain't gonna lie.
You know, but it's a good good to finish the race on the podium where he struggled. By if he was up front, he was crashing out. So at least he's finishing, and you know he got second place and didn't win, but that's still pretty good to see. But speaking of, I don't know what to call it. What can we do for Suzuki? Because I mean, Richie Escalante, man. I mean, he rode his A off this weekend. He really, if he was on a different bike, he would have been further up the food chain. I gotta say, he definitely had a really good race. He just, he couldn't find a way around, man.
All you can do is just keep going and get to the 20. Yeah, just get to the 27 bike. That's it. Get to the newer model.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Do what you can.
I mean, but it was
still in the game competing.
It was pretty impressive to see him do that on the Suzuki to push those guys like that. No.
But then again, we're at a track that you can do all that on an older bike. We're at that type of track.
Reese, don't use facts.
I'm gonna use facts. We're at a track because coming to Coda, I don't know where that Suzuki would be.
Okay. So okay. What are your thoughts, TJ? You're a Suzuki guy. I mean, it was impressive to see. But you feel it's a one-off.
I mean, Richie's a great rider. He's always top 5, win the mix somewhere, top 5, top 10. But you don't hear too much about him as often. But he's definitely riding well, and he rode pretty well this past weekend. But what help can he get? Means I don't know. Just gotta just keep doing what he's doing. I don't see any major performance or any changes.
I don't know the turn, and Reese and Lewis might know the turn, but there's one turn where they were hitting the apex, and they were hitting this curb, and he was just full gas, and that back tire was just he was off the ground, so when it hit, it was just tuck and go, but he did not get.
I mean,
was that at the top of the hill?
I was gonna say, I think it's top of the hill.
Yeah. He was like bunny hopping that every time, man, just hitting it in airborne and full gas when the tire hit the ground. He was ready to full send.
Yeah, no, man. The Suzuki's, man, that's what I thought they were known for, hitting those corners, corner speeds and all that good stuff, and yeah. Hopefully he can pull off a podium here sometime for the next 5 races that we have. So a little shake up.
Yeah, they're known for hitting the corners, all right.
I was gonna say
well, in the Twins Cup is a little different story. When they hit those corners on the rumble strip,
we pick it up pieces.
They lost it. They lost it, but
it's one thing to smash your screen with your hand versus your helmet. Wow,
God, they need a new bike.
Oh man, it's pretty wild to see, guys. You
gotta talk to Lewis about that one. Lewis used to be an old Gixxer fan.
All right,
well, I'm still a Gixxer fan, but I'll be the first one to concede that Richie Escalante needs to go buy some Suzuki decals and put them on a BMW and just go out there and be like, no, this is the new Suzuki, because he's a great, talented rider, and he's doing the best that he can with the tools that he has. But if you have a hammer that has a broken handle and a screwdriver that's stripped, and you have all your tools suck, even the greatest carpenter in the world is not going to build the best house, and he's not going to build it very fast, and that's what he needs, man. He needs tools. And during the off season, I mean, the differences between this year's bike and next year's bike are not going to be anything significant enough to change. M4 is not doing something or not doing enough to move that bike forward. Nobody else is racing a GSXR 1000, so they can't even share the data across multiple teams. I think Richie needs to try to move himself to another team, man, because he's a talented rider, and I feel that he can do so much more with better equipment than what he's doing now. And I love Suzuki. I love everything about them. But, at a certain point, as a talented rider, sometimes you got to take your skills somewhere else, to chase that ring.
That's why we get started in the first place. There's nothing wrong with chasing, man. That's not how you do a jumper, Louis. Don't do
that. Yeah, I'm baseball. I'm Latino, bro. We play baseball.
I'm glad I missed
I'm vertically challenged.
That's better. We at least gotta send you some videos on how to Reese can show you how to do a follow through.
He can't show me how to be 6'5".
I'm only 6'4".
I'm still saying they can't show me that. If I was born 6'6", I'm gonna be honest with you, I'll be a little closer to the rim, so it kind of helps.
There are a lot of tall people that don't play sports, so you know what I'm saying. Just because you're tall doesn't mean that's where you want to end up. I don't understand it myself, but yeah. Oh. If I was 6'5", I definitely
I mean, God. I was a little bit taller.
Let's talk about the BMW a little bit before we get out of here. Jason Ewberry was really good, and obviously SDK. It seems like where last year Cam was. Bobby was talking about how much he struggled on the BMW, always trying to kill him every time he tried to go fast. It seems like they've sorted out a lot this year. You got a young kid on the bike, and also you got a seasoned guy on the bike, and they seem to, outside of the race 3, pretty much almost had a pretty good, solid weekend, similar to Yamaha, Attack Yamaha to be specific. What are your thoughts?
What I was saying, BMW's seemed more rider friendly this year compared to the past, where riders seem to say it's trying to kill them, and you just see like the crashes and all that. But for this year, SDK's been riding really well. He's been even riding aggressive. Second race didn't go so well. I mean, he did scrounge up a point, so still have the fight in him. But I think Jason Rube was his first podium of the year, I think. So it was good to see, when one teammate's down, the other teammate's still able to, show something. So when basically SDK putting his foot forward for most of the season, still with him being down the standings for his teammate to step up a little bit. So that was good to see, even though the race was a mess. But racing is racing. You still got to go out there and ride to the end. So it's good to see that they're not struggling like the bike's trying to kill them and stuff like that, but they are improving.
Right. And Reese, what does it say for when your teammate comes and support you on the podium? Because SDK did come out and to support Jason in his first podium on the BMW, which was really cool to see. From a fan perspective and the worker bee perspective, it's really good to see. What does that mean for the cohesiveness of the team?
I mean, you said it best right there: the cohesiveness, the morale as a team. Confidence builder, knowing that your team and your teammate believes in you, and they support you. So that's a big factor. Anybody knows in any kind of sport, when you have that support and you have that morale as a team, it is tough. So it was nice to see SDK come to support Uribe. I don't know where he came. I don't know where he found it at, but not to be open and not biased, but what Weaver and those guys are doing over there, is, short of something spectacular. I mean, I know they've taken, stuff from, they brought the BMW over from the Titleist team that, not there no more, and they're making it their own. They got the data and everything from them, so I know the bike was, they're coming from there. But what they're doing on that bike and what SDK, is building that bike, with Weaver, it's something spectacular. It's almost like it was a good match for them too.
Okay, no doubt. Lewis, you heard what Reese had to say. It's all about the lunch, though, isn't it?
It's the catering, bro. If your catering is that high level, your team's going to be that high level, man. Because I can tell you right now, when Titlers had BMWs, their catering sucked, man. And that pretty much showed me that they weren't invested in winning. But having spent a lot of time with Orange Cat, with the crew, the way that they work is slightly different than some other crews. But one of the big things that they've done this year, that for all the years that Titlers was kind of like the factory BMW team, they never spent the amount of effort, time, money to go out and test and practice and bring the right people to the US. They didn't go out and get, data engineers from Europe and fly them out for race weekends, for testing. Like, they didn't do a lot of the things that the Orange Cat team is doing, because the Orange Cat team wants to be a competitive team. They went to Superbike with the idea of like, we've won Super Stock Championship or Stock 1000 Championship. We want a Superbike Championship, and we're not going to half-ass it. We're going to come here. We're going to bring the right riders. We're going to hire the right people. We're going to put the right team together, and we're going to invest what we need to invest. And I'll tell you what, man, the proof is in the pudding. You see what they're putting out there. The last couple of years, you've got, SDK was with Top Pro Racing, also on a BMW. He never had this level of success because that team, as good of a team it is, it's limited in resources. And then before that, he was with somebody else, limited in resources and not willing to invest to get to the next step. And now he's in this team where this team is not limited in resources. They're looking to invest. They're looking to win. They're looking to put out a competitive package out there every weekend. And you can see, even when he's down, his teammate did a great job. His teammate got on the podium. And as a group, as a cohesive group, they all went and cheered on Jason Uribe for finally getting on the podium in a Superbike race. And it's huge. That just goes to show you that the team works together well. The team believes in each other. The team are all there for each other. And at the end of the day, that's what you want, man. If one side of your garage doesn't get along with the other side of the garage, you might be competitively well. Look at Yamaha with Rossi and Lorenzo. You might have two competitive teams, but at the end of the day, it's one team with just two competitive riders. And I'm looking forward to actually running into them again in the next day or two, because they're doing more testing before COTA. And again, this just goes to show you, there's very few teams that are testing in August when there's only 2 rounds left. If your team is still testing in August when there's only 2 rounds left, that's because they're serious about wanting to make sure that they wrap this championship up.
Reese, any testing coming up?
Nah.
We did a lot of testing over the break. A lot of testing.
He's like, I'm testing my charger. 10 seconds or less. Well, guys, I want to thank you for coming on tonight. My name is Rex Fortyfive. It's the Be Forever Cool podcast. I want to thank TJ with 2 Wheels and Coffee, Reese Matak Yamaha, Luis Ortega, the numbers guy. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.